You're watching us here on Mad About Markets. Today we're mad about male grooming, and it's that part of the show where we talk about the yays and the mays, the opportunities and the misses in the category itself. So just hang in there and we will bring on the two big perfume bottles, the yays and the mays for
And you start
male
with the
grooming.
mays?
I will start with the yays. Always. Let's talk about the yays itself. I mean, it is a nascent category with a strong growth opportunity. Like we said, 52% of the population is male, but only 11% of the personal care sales are from men. So there is huge growth headroom.
There is headroom, but this is still very much a modern trade-driven category, and that's a drawback because there's only so much scope for expansion.
There is only so much scope for expansion, but we're also seeing, increasingly seeing the presence of new brands, new offerings, very specific products as well.
While new brands are innovating, the traditional players, which have a larger reach, aren't really doing much as far as, innovation is concerned.
Yes, but premiumization, it's a high gross margin category. A lot of the things that are coming are at the premium end. So even if a small portion of the audience buys it, in terms of value, it becomes huge.
But once you start pricing your product up, I'm going to stop buying here and I'm going to probably go international. That's what tends to happen with these brands as well.
You spoke about traditional players not innovating so much. What about they going and buying the new age modern products that we just spoke about? So that can add scale to the category.
But despite this self-care for men becoming more and more acceptable, it does remain culturally awkward for men to embrace grooming in general, and they continue to use, like we were talking at the start, their wives and their mothers and their sisters' grooming products at home. So that mind shift hasn't really changed.
Truth be told, I, until the longest time, used whatever was there, right? And which was definitely not brought by any of the men in the house.
Well, I don't know, were those glasses picked by you?
The glasses were picked by me.
Well, Sukleen, let me come to you on that note. What about you? What are the challenges that you see in scaling up a category like men's grooming?
I think I would say there are two distinct challenges. One on the brand side, where if you see in the last 5 to 7 years, there have been a sea of brands that have come up. And I think somewhere creating a differentiated brand identity and a brand positioning will be critical, because male grooming is one segment which has started to get lost in the sea of sameness. So how do you actually create a distinctive brand identity for men? I think is one opportunity and a challenge. And I think the second side would be to actually do a lot more scoping in terms of understanding which categories to pivot on. Because typically in male grooming as a segment, you would realize that men become loyal to a product category and don't tend to use a universe of products from the same brand. So they will have a specialist shaving brand, they will have a specialist deodorant brand, they'll have a specialist personal care brand for their face washes and body washes. And chances are all these three segments, they have distinct brands that they use. So in that context, how do you actually create a portfolio which can scale and can sell across categories is a difficult problem to solve within male grooming.
Wow, Sukleen said it better than anyone else. She said that men are loyal to one product of a certain brand, so it gets very difficult for people to go ahead and buy the entire bouquet. One would say buy a razor from a certain brand, but the perfume would be from some another brand. So,
well, I'd say it's pretty much the same for women as well, but perhaps more pronounced for men.
A little more pronounced, because men, as they say, are functional. But talking about functional and the opportunity, etc., Deepak, we spoke about a whole lot of listed companies in this space. You have been scaling up well as well. IPO, what are your IPO plans?
Yeah, so we have a IPO tracker at the reception in the office. So we want to do an IPO in 3 years from now, which is like getting to 1,000 crore net sales business. Right now we are close to 1/3 of that. So 3 years is what we are looking at. The kind of growth we have seen in the last 4 years, we believe that this will happen. We just need to kind of continue to be consumer centric, continue to do innovative stuff and communicate in far more engaging way through storytelling to make that happen.
Well, Deepak, we hope that barometer hits the mark that you're hoping for and you are able to go public soon. But on that note, we're going to ask the bigger question, and that is how much headroom really is there for the male grooming industry to grow? What's blooming in men's grooming? And Deepak, why don't you go first?
See, for us, the category is not only shaving or skincare, which include or deos, right? So the newer subcategories like body grooming, etc., are growing at a very fast pace, where Bombay Shaving Company has got very high market share, right? So I think more than kind of trying to take share from the existing players, which as the brand will scale will continue to do, but the creation of newer subcategories will give far more delta and create a headroom for the growth. I believe that we should not see the category TAM from the lens of the traditional players, because if you do that, you will always find that it's a close to $1.6 billion category growing at 7-8%. But the way we look at this is that there are a lot of new subcategories which are growing at 30-40%, and how do Bombay Shaving Company take majority share of that? We launch a hair removal spray for men. Like I said, that we did a very interesting survey in Delhi. 40% of the male consumers in the age group of 16 to 24 actually have shaved their chest and back because they are going to gym, they are going to beaches a lot more, etc., which was very unlikely few years back, right? So these are the trends we need to pick up and launch a product. Our hair removal spray sell for $599, which is kind of far higher ASP than the competition in the market. So I think innovation, deeper understanding of the younger consumers, and kind of servicing them better and communicating to them in the right way will kind of help us create new headrooms apart from acquiring share from the legacy players.
Thank God he spoke about the 16 to 24 category buying the hair removal sprays, and I'm way past that and not a target audience for that as well. But Sujot, I mean, the question to you as well, how much is the headroom for men's grooming to bloom?
It doesn't, it's not even 15 to 20% of the female grooming space in India, whereas that's not true for the population base. Population base is pretty much 50-50. And if you look at today's workspace, what is definitely changing, at least in urban India, is the percentage contribution of male to female in office spaces, which is only going to increase, incidence of grooming by men, because presentation is going to become so much more important. Which steadily over a period of time culturally has been changing in India. Today, if you look at say a 40-year-old to a 20-year-old, you definitely see distinct change in the amount of grooming products that the 40-year-old uses versus 20-year-old users. And over a period of time, this is only going to go up. And I believe that's going to create significant opportunity for the male grooming players out there to grow.
All right, thanks a lot, gentlemen, and Sukleen, for giving us your perspective on the men's grooming industry. With that, we're out of time on this edition of Mad About Markets. Stay mad. We see you soon. Keep grooming.